This is a match breakdown between Gregory Yo and Steve Thomas, which happened a few days ago. So in the first round, you could see here Greg fires backwards, and Steve contains his back pressure with his dominant finger pressure and surges sideways with his pronation based side pressure. But Greg is able to get a stop inches above the pad with his lower strap contact. Able to keep his pronation steady. Steve's wrist does get cracked, but Greg not quite able to stop him due to his dominant side pressure hits. Crazy round. This is round 2 here. Round 2, you can see that Steve is trying to cup Greg's pronation. So Steve in the first round got his wrist cracked. So at this round, I think he is going for a more cup dominant drive. And even Greg is slightly supinated here. I'm not sure whether he intended to go to the hook, but let's see how the round plays out. Yeah, so Steve was able to get the cup set, totally like engulfed Greg's pronation at this point, and he's also able to attack Greg's fingers here. You can see Steve's uh, top roll ridge attacking Greg's cup. Crazy round. This is the third round here. Looks like both of them going for a top roll attack as expected. Both of them losing their riser, and Greg kind of able to get a purchase initially on like Steve's wrist, as you can see here. But again, his finger pressure proves too much, and Greg's wrist gets flopped here. Steve holds on to the thumb, clamps into the thumb of Gregorio and forces the pin. Dominant win outside of straps. It's a parallel pin given to Steve Thomas here. Crazy round. The third round here, again Steve goes for a posting style top roll motion, and Greg kinda losing his riser once again. Greg ideally is a strap based puller. Although if he loses his wrist, he can quite attack the opponents with his pronation and back pressure drive. But in this match, he wasn't quite able to get to the A side to even engage his side pressure hits, which he usually goes for. As you can see here, Steve posts high, keeps his knuckles to the ceiling, and eventually cups Greg's back pressure. Impressive stuff here. Greg tries to open the arm angle of Steve here in the hook. Crazy display of arm wrestling prowess from both the athletes. As you can see, even Greg brings his shoulder forward, trying to match the arm power of Steve Thomas. But again, the side pressure proves fatal. Third round here, Steve again cups Greg. Lets Greg hit. Greg kinda is able to open the arm angle of Steve Thomas, as you can see here, but not quite able to open the fingers of Steve. Greg opens the wrist, engaging back pressure into his fingertips and slips over the lead knuckle. Again, goes for a back pressure hit in straps, much more in an offensive capacity here, but Steve is able to contain all of that. And you can see Greg's wrist getting cracked a little bit here due to the thumb based pronation from Steve Thomas. Steve holds. Greg is kinda able to open the wrist. Steve gives up some arm angle to Greg. Greg regrips and goes for the pin. Crazy display of arm wrestling prowess from both these athletes. Both are masters in the top roll technique. Crazy display. I have pulled both of these athletes on the left arm, but this is a totally different arm we are looking at here. From what I have pulled both of these athletes, what I can infer is Greg has more raw back pressure. He has some insane lifts in his right arm, can do up to like 60-65 kg back pressure, I think, which was evident in the first round. But in the later round, Steve was able to access his cup and rise and eventually get the win over Gregorio. Nonetheless, impressive stuff from both the athletes. Uh, Sub to my channel if you're looking for more arm wrestling breakdowns like these. Cheers.